In this video, I will briefly defend the doctrine of the Immaculate Conception, which is the teaching that Mary was created without original sin and never sinned during her lifetime. Now, it is often objected that only God can be sinless. However, God can choose to create a being without a sinful nature, and God can give a person grace that the person can then work with to choose not to sin, as Christians have believed about unfallen angels, for example. A reason why it is plausible that Mary needed to be created without a sinful nature is because just as God the Son has a sinless origin when his divine personhood is sourced by God the Father from all eternity, his human flesh also needs a sinless origin in its sourcing as well. So God created Mary without a sinful nature because it was essential to God's plan of salvation in becoming incarnate that his human nature is also without a sinful ontological origin. Now, if one thinks that this is in conflict with the theodicy that I defend, keep in mind that I argue in my video on the perfect will theodicy that the created world is still ordered to bring about God's plan of salvation, even though not everything in the created order acts in full conformity with God's intellect and will. Furthermore, I do think Mary had the freedom to be able to choose to sin during her lifetime, but she freely chose never to sin, working alongside God's grace. So God did not override Mary's free will. Rather, Mary worked alongside God's grace to freely choose never to sin. Now, one may object that the teaching of the Immaculate Conception is unbiblical because the Bible teaches that all have sinned. However, in the context of those statements found in Romans, the statement, all have sinned, is plausibly referring to all groups of people, as in both Jews and Gentiles. It does not apply to literally every human individual, as it certainly does not apply to Jesus. Furthermore, the Immaculate Conception does not entail that Mary was not saved by Jesus, because as John Duns Scotus argued, Mary was saved by Jesus by being preserved by him beforehand from inheriting a sinful nature. Since he knew that he was going to become incarnate, he preserved Mary from inheriting the sinful nature and thereby saved her in that process. So, there is good reason to believe in the Immaculate Conception, and the common objections raised against it can be plausibly addressed. Of course, more can be said about this topic, but hopefully it made sense, and thanks for watching.